Given the extreme tensions the European and American economies experience presently, albeit for different reasons, the Asian economies have already functioned as an important motor of the world economy. The Asia-Pacific region has become the world's primary growth engine, and if investments, trade and cooperation move smoothly within the free trade area of the Asia-Pacific, it will enhance all participating economies. Thailand could spearhead one of the major infrastructure projects within the FTAAP. One of the groundbreaking projects on the table should be the construction of the Kra Canal, which should be built through the narrowest part of the Malay Peninsula. The Isthmus of Kra in Thailand has been known since long as the most suitable site to cut a canal connecting the Gulf of Thailand and the Indian Ocean. The Strait of Malacca is overloaded with traffic since a long time, and with Asia being the economic growth region of the world, it would make a lot of sense of finally realizing this project. With a growing world population and the corresponding growth in trade, the building of the Kra Canal would not only relieve the bottleneck of the Strait of Malacca, but would also benefit Thailand and the whole region economically. China, being the world's second largest economy, and in terms of purchasing power, already the number one, it is obvious defines the parameters for the FTAAP to a very large extent. The continued growth of the middle class will be a major attraction for China's partners in the region, both for direct investments as well as for the expansion of bilateral trade relations. I think it would be very beneficial for major countries outside this region to be included, since an open and multilateral world economy has proven to be in the interest of all the countries participating in the past. There is a tendency of some forces in the West to decouple their economies from Russia for mainly geopolitical reasons. And in the aftermath of this, the same forces want to decouple from the Chinese economy. They call this, quote, reducing the dependency from the Chinese market. But underneath is really the effort to contain the economic rise of China. But that outlook does not serve the real self-interest of the industries of the European countries. And such a decoupling would go along with a significant loss of jobs in the affected countries. On the other side, there are new partnerships developing which go beyond Asia as such. For example, the BRICS, which soon will be enlarged, it already includes Brazil and South Africa, and more countries have applied or will apply for membership. Iran and Argentina have requested to be part of it, and now also Egypt, Saudi Arabia and Turkey have expressed plans to do so. There are more countries in the global south who are thinking in this direction. Also, we are not living in normal times. We experience what President Xi Jinping calls changes not seen in a century. And this refers also to a completely new realignment of countries, where more and more countries are reviving the tradition of non-alignment and are taking up the fight to overcome colonialism in its new form, a dependency on the financial structures so far dominated by the transatlantic sector to a very large extent. These countries want to have a new international currency system, trade in their own currencies, and have control over their own credit creation. They want to create a new, just world economic order. So all of these changes should be considered if one thinks about the question if countries from outside of this region should be included. In the context of the Belt and Road Initiative, several major projects involving potentially multiple countries have started to fill out the promises of the economic integration of the new Silk Road. One of them is the CPEC, the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, a flagship project which will be extended in the future to Afghanistan and Central Asian countries, just for starters. Similarly, the China-Laos Railway not only boosts the development of logistics and transport, makes travel so much faster. It reduced the trip from Vientiane to the China-Laos border from 2 days to just 3 hours. But it also turns Laos from a landlocked country into one which is now regionally connected. This train has a speed of 160 kilometers per hour and travels back and forth between Boding and Vientiane and represents a crucial infrastructural development, which will be the stepping stone for the industrialization of Laos and in the future contribute to the development of its neighbors, such as Thailand. It is these major infrastructure projects which are the key for the industrialization of all of the countries wherever they are being built. And they are not the privilege of the so-called industrialized countries, but they are the key for the developing countries to achieve their own industrialization. Eventually, very soon, all continents will be connected through such projects, tunnels and bridges. So the new Silk Road will become the World Land Bridge, which is also the name of a famous study of my think tank, the Schiller Institute. I think what the developing countries need is a different approach, much more focusing on innovation, because what a resource is not a fixed condition, but entirely dependent on the level of technology with which one treats it. For our ancestors in the Stone Age, a stone seemed to be a hand axe with which one could hunt an animal. Our modern engineers would look at the same stone and say, "Oh, how interesting, this has the following minerals and ores in it, which we can use for the following metallurgical procedures." And before the discovery of nuclear energy, the use of uranium was negligible. The developing countries have a gigantic lack of development to overcome. So the approach of scarcity management does not do them much good. They need a huge technology transfer instead, so that they can leapfrog out of the condition of underdevelopment and through a process of education, infrastructure build-up and investment in industry and agriculture, reach a state of decent development as quickly as possible. Naturally, one has to take care of the environment and adapt to the climate changes, but there I think China is a good model to follow, which has done an enormous amount for both of these concerns. For example, with its afforestation programs, which have created new forests in a territory of the size of Germany. But what the developing countries need is a doubling of the world food production, given the fact that 1.7 billion people are threatened with starvation, according to the World Food Programme. And they need the creation of new fresh water through modern technologies, such as the peaceful use of nuclear energy for the desalination of large amounts of ocean water and the ionization of the atmosphere. Since 2 billion people don't have access to clean water, this would also help in the fight against desertification. They need to connect as quickly as possible to the most advanced sciences and technologies, so they need science cities for research and study, so that many young people can be educated and become scientists.